Some movies entertain, some inspire, and then there are the ones that change everything. Decades ago, filmmakers didn't just predict the future, they shaped it. They imagined technologies and societies that seemed impossible at the time. But now, those visions have become our reality. Was it just coincidence? Or were these films planting seeds, programming us to accept the future they envisioned? From the rise of AI and surveillance to questions about humanity itself, the parallels between science fiction and today's world are impossible to ignore. This is more than a look back at cinematic masterpieces. It's an exploration of how 2001, A Space Odyssey, Blade Runner, and The Truman Show blurred the line between prophecy and manipulation. Buckle up, because the truth might be stranger than fiction. Movie 1, 2001, A Space Odyssey. Open with the monolith looming against a backdrop of stars. Transition to scenes of astronauts using news pads, video calls, and HAL 9000, juxtaposed with modern tablets, Zoom calls, and AI interfaces. In 1968, Stanley Kubrick's 2001, A Space Odyssey was pure science fiction. Or was it? The film introduced us to news pads, sleek devices that astronauts use to browse information, devices eerily similar to today's tablets. Video calls, a staple of our daily lives, were commonplace on the spaceship Discovery 1. And then there was HAL 9000, the AI system so advanced it could think, learn, and even feel. Sound familiar? But here's the twist. HAL wasn't just a tool, it was a warning, a machine that could outsmart its creators. In an era where AI now writes, drives, and even diagnoses, 2001 didn't just predict the future, it questioned it. Kubrick dared to ask, what happens when we create something smarter than ourselves, and are we ready for the consequences? Movie 2, Blade Runner. Open with the rainy neon-lit Los Angeles cityscape, show the massive digital billboards, flying cars, and close-ups of the replicants, transitioning to modern eVTOL aircraft, bustling urban centers, and AI humanoids. Fast forward to 1982, when Ridley Scott's Blade Runner transported us to a dystopian future that felt both alien and eerily familiar. The city, a chaotic blend of towering skyscrapers and glowing billboards, now a reality in places like Tokyo and Times Square. The flying cars? We're not there yet. But with eVTOL technology on the horizon, they're closer than ever. And then there were the replicants, bioengineered beings, indistinguishable from humans, programmed with emotions and memories. They were more than machines. They were alive. Today, as AI and robotics advance, Blade Runner's questions about identity and consciousness resonate louder than ever. What makes us human? And when we create artificial life, who holds the moral responsibility? Ridley Scott didn't just give us a future to imagine. He gave us a future to fear. Movie 3, The Truman Show. Begin with Truman's cheerful smile as he waves at the camera. Transition to scenes of hidden cameras, the massive control room, and Truman's dawning realization. Pair this with real-world footage of social media scrolling, surveillance cameras, and reality TV. In 1998, The Truman Show was a dark comedy about a man unknowingly living his life on a giant television set. Today, it feels like a prophecy. We live in a world where surveillance is everywhere, hidden cameras, algorithms tracking our every move. Social media has turned us into performers, curating every moment for an unseen audience. Truman's life, meticulously controlled by a hidden director, feels eerily similar to the curated, algorithm-driven realities we live in. His desperate escape was more than a plot twist. It was a warning. What happens when the line between performance and reality disappears? And in a world obsessed with spectacle, can we ever truly be free? The Truman Show dared to ask the question we're too afraid to face. Are we really in control? Or is someone else pulling the strings? A final montage of the monolith, replicants, and Truman's wave, fading into modern-day AI interfaces, surveillance feeds, and people glued to their devices. These films weren't just stories. They were warnings. Warnings about the technology we create, the boundaries we push, and the freedoms we sacrifice. From 2001's questions about AI, to Blade Runner's exploration of humanity, to the Truman Show's critique of surveillance, these movies didn't just predict the future, they shaped it. But here's the ultimate question. Are we still writing our own story, or have we already surrendered to the script they envisioned? The future isn't coming. It's already here. The only question is, who's directing it? Prophecy or programming? What role will you play? Subscribe to uncover more about the films that shaped our reality, and maybe even our fate.